Do you have one or more devices with one or more USB ports? Well, if you do, and even if you don't, stay tuned and I'm going to show you 4 ways to keep those ports up and running as best you can and avoid some kind of ugly situations that we all would rather not have to deal with. Welcome to another edition of TechBytes with Ron Nutter, your home for all things relating to smart home technology. In this episode, we're going to talk about the 4 ways you can protect your devices with USB ports. Hi, I'm Ron Nutter, and we're going to be working on this together. For any items mentioned in this episode, there may be affiliate links in the description. If you click on these links, I may get a small commission, but that won't affect the price you pay for the item. If you want to get notified when new content is uploaded, please click on subscribe and enable notifications. Now, here's what we're going to be covering today. Number 1, using or what is a data blocker, because you may not have heard of those, and this is going to be something that you're going to want to be aware of. Number 2, using a USB Voltmeter, and yes, there is such a device, and I'm going to show you why you want to have one. Number 3, using a jeweler's loupe magnifier. It's going to sound different, but you know what? It's going to help you avoid a possible repair bill, and it's just going to help keep things up and running a little bit better. Number 4, using a USB cleaning kit. And yes, there is one. It may not be called that, but when gunk and fuzzies get in your USB ports, they're not going to work as well or at all. So stay tuned and let's get this party started. Well, now we're in the first section, and that's going to be why you need to look at using a USB blocker. Now there's a USB A and USB C, so you'll want to have both with you just in case, but you may end up using the C one more than the A. And if you have one and not the other and you need to have a different end, I always carry a set of adapters. I don't like to use them, but in a pinch, it's better than having nothing. You should always plug this in when you are using one of the, what I'll call the public chargers that you have at an airport, train station, bus station, whatever. It's something that you have not had any control over how it's being used, because you don't know behind that plate what is sitting behind there. It could be something that could try to inject an attack or try to load firmware on your machine. So what you're seeing now is a drawing of the normal wiring, and there's 4 pins on USB. The USB blockers don't have the middle 2 pins. I'm not going to get into the data plus, data minus, voltage plus, voltage minus. Just take it that the middle 2 pins are not there. So this is the first thing you want to put in. This is going to do the best job at having you protected, whether it's one of these public chargers or it's a charger that a friend at the office or someone you know has loaned. Hey, here's mine, go and use it. You don't know what's in there. And I don't mean to be coming off as paranoid, but this is something that you need to start thinking about, because they may not even know that somebody's hacked it. They may have gotten it from somebody else. So just take it one step at a time. Always put this in first. And a way you can test this is plug your laptop into that data blocker, which is already on the smartphone or tablet. And if you don't see any message about synchronization, or you don't suddenly see the tablet or smartphone show up as a mapped drive or attached drive, that's going to be a good indication that the blocker is working. When you plug in USB Voltmeter, and you may have to have some a gender adapter, I'll call it, like a male to male or a female to female, depending on the charging system you're using, how it's going into your phone to get this all to work. But to verify that you've got power coming out of the charging station or your own wall wart or charger at home, this is going to plug into the cable coming out of the charger, and then you'll want to do there's like these little LED lights that have USB C connectors on them, or if you want to have one that's A, or probably one of both wouldn't be a bad idea, that will need to go to the other side of the charger and then turn it on. And that's going to prove to you that power is coming from the public phone charger or your personal charger. And by the way, this is an interesting way of testing cables. If the cable is bad, put the cable between the charging source and the LED light meter, and if it lights up, okay, you got voltage coming across. Now, we can't speak to data, but it's a matter of troubleshooting. So this is something that's handy to have, and what we're going to look at is voltage that is, I wouldn't want it to go much under 5 volts, because then that might be a charging problem, and your phone might even complain about slow charging. And you really wouldn't want it to go a whole lot over 5. And these are my personal observations. Those of you with an electrical engineering background will, have a definitive statement to make. I'm just kind of going on what I have seen. And what we're looking at doing is benchmarking on this. Is we need to know what is normal in an average situation. And you will see the USB voltmeter cycle through volts, amps, watts, and at least you'll have an idea that power is working. And it's just going to take time. You're going to have to learn what's normal for your smartphone or your tablet, and then you'll know how to react when it's time to replace the cable. And I would always carry a couple of cables with you. Never ever use one that gets mailed to you. I'm cautious about even using ones I buy on store, because you don't know if somebody has mucked with it. So you just got to be careful. Now we're on to part number 3, and that's using a jeweler's loop. Now you're going to say, what do I need a jeweler's loop for? Have you ever tried to look into the guts of a USB-C or even USB-A connector? Trust me, as you get a little bit older, that will be a handy thing to have. Now, you may not want the exact one that I've got here. I've got a 40x or 40 times magnification. There are ones that are smaller than that. You could even get a triple set. It has 3 different magnification options. Now, there is a zoom available, but I was trying to follow the keep it simple, stupid principle on selecting the tools. So if 40x is too much, you're going to need to have some sort of flashlight, unless you get the one that I've got, which has built-in LEDs. It's got 2 separate LED setups. One is for infrared. I look at that more as lower level illumination when I don't need to be blinded. And the other option is a 2 LED setup for regular illumination purposes. Either way, you've got 2 options. There's a little key that comes with it so you can change out the battery, as long as you make sure you keep it turned off when you're not going to need it. And I would go one step further. If it's going to be a while before you need it again, I would leave the battery out, because it comes in a nice case. So that's one less thing that you've got to worry about. But this does come in handy for making sure you've got the USB connections cleaned, or seeing if you need to clean. Okay, now we're on to the last section of this video, and this is about the USB cleaning kit. What you're going to see on the screen now is just one example of what's out there. There are what's the term I want to use? Little towelettes that you can use to clean at least the outside of the USB connectors. I would be concerned about trying to do it on the inside, because you might snag something, then you got to get all that retrieved out. There are Q-tips that are applied. There are some what I call bristle brushes in there that you can also use to kind of help clean the gunk off the contacts. But this is something that you probably won't need to do a whole lot, only if you've been outside where it's dirty and sandy. And while there may be USB plugs that you can use, that's one more thing you got to keep up with. And I've never had a problem where I've had that happen to me, but I may not be out in some of the environments that some of you all are in. So this is something that's good to have on hand. Like I said, you're not going to need it a whole lot, but having it when you need it is, to quote a particular charge card commercial, priceless. Just take a look at the different ones out there, and you get the best one for you. I would be hesitant about getting one that has a lot of metal tools in it, because you don't know if the power is really off. at least on the smartphone or a charger, so you don't want to run across those and get those shorted out. But plastic implements, and when you go to use the cleaning fluid, whether it's with the spray bottle or with the towelette deals that are there, just be very judicious on how much you use. You don't need to marinate it, just enough to get it wet. And I would actually use the applicators that are there, where it's the brushes or the ones with the felt tip or other fiber on the end. Get that just a little bit wet, not a lot, and then you should be good to go. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see videos on the screen that are similar to the one you've just watched, or other content that YouTube thinks you might be interested in. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe and enable notifications. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.